Hey there. It's about a year ago that some of you probably watched my video about EI reporting for cash outs, for statutory holiday and vacation pay. And looking at now, a year later, there's over 3,000 views on the video. That shows that people have been looking for this kind of video. I see the 36 thumbs up shows that it's helped 36 people. So following basic instructions shouldn't be so difficult. So for most of us, if you're watching this video at this point, you probably filled out your EI reports. You got some sort of a cash out. You put it as other money. And it never became an issue because Revenue Canada was able to look at the situation or your ROE and say, okay, here's the cash out and here's what you reported and everything is good. And maybe you gave the video a thumbs up and said thank you and you're done with it. But then for some other people, you might have run into the same thing that I ran into and thought everything was good, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere received a letter in the mail. So there is a chance that you received a letter that came from this place. So this is basically a letter telling you that you owe them money. So I picked up the phone and called the EI toll-free number and waited on hold forever. So I asked the lady who answered the phone, I said, could you please explain to me that this bill that I received in the mail for monies owing, because I'm kind of confused. And she went on to tell me that it is because I worked during the time that I was collecting EI, and therefore I owed them money back from the EI that I received during that time. And I went on to explain that my workplace was closed due to a government mandated shutdown, so it is impossible that I could have worked there at that time because it was closed. And I got a response like, well, we can't really confirm that. I'm like, huh? Like, this is not difficult to figure out. You're the government and you've government mandated shut down a workplace. You should know this. But she said, well, no, that's not how it works. The records here show so that you worked. So I said, really? I said, can you elaborate on that, please? How did I work in a place that is closed? And she pulled up the records and said, well, it shows that you worked 4 stat days in October of 2020. And I said, really? Could you please explain to me the 4 stat holidays that fall in October? And she said, well, I don't know what they are, but it appears that you worked them because that's what this shows. What? So I went on to explain this is a cash out for statutory holidays from the past that the workplace cashed out because they were closed for a certain amount of time. And she said, we have no way to confirm that. And I'm like, what? So I'm like, let me understand this correctly. You're telling me that I owe money back on EI because I worked 4 statutory holidays in the month of October in a workplace that was closed due to a government-mandated shutdown, and there aren't even 4 statutory holidays in October, there's 1. So how is that possible? So the response that I got was, well, if you don't agree with this decision, there is a form that you can fill out disputing this payment. And I'm like, okay, well, now we're getting somewhere. How do I do that? I apologize, this isn't the best shot, but it's the form that says request for reconsideration of an employment insurance decision on the Service Canada website. All you would need to do is fill the entire thing out and take it to a Service Canada location or mail it to a Service Canada location. Now, of course, they're going to tell you that, the form has to be filled out and submitted within some ridiculous short amount of time. I think it's 7 days or something. So what I did was I filled it out, hopped in the car, I drove over to the Service Canada location that's about 10 minutes away from where I live, walked in the door. Of course, noticed there was a long lineup. Asked them if there was a drop box. They said that there was. So I was able to just put the form in the drop box and leave. Now, I want you to keep something in mind, that my cash out was in October of last year, October of 2020, and I received this notice of money owing in July of 2021. So you can see how long the delay was. So the notice arrived in July, and the due date is in October. So basically 90 days to pay this bill. Now, I'd like to point out that how I explained it on the form when I filled it out in great detail is I made it very, very clear that these stat days that were cashed out were from the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, and they were banked for Christmas, Boxing Day, I believe New Year's, Family Day. I think those were the ones. It was that long ago. I think so. So basically what you need to do is explain where those stat days were accrued and for which days, and that they were not in the period in question when you received your cash out. And that should fix the problem. Now, interestingly enough, the date in October that they set for my payment due on the money owing, one calendar day later is the date on the statement that was printed out and mailed to me, which looks exactly like the one asking for the money, only this time it shows that it's a zero balance and an adjustment for that amount, which means that my appeal was won. They accepted it, and I think it is because I explained in great detail that those cash out days had nothing to do with the time that they were cashed out. So make sure, and I can't emphasize enough, make sure that if you get into the same situation and you have to fill out this appeal form, that you need to explain very clearly in detail the situation, because that is your best chance of getting it rectified in due time. I'd like to thank everybody for watching this video. I hope that this video and the last one has helped you out. Please feel free to leave comments, questions, anything that might help other people as well. And good luck to everybody in the future. And hopefully I won't have to do another video on this topic. Have a good day, everybody.